based on that KKT conditions in the last class, right? So today we are going to solve another problem because as I mentioned to you also in the last class that the problem what you have chosen, you can just see, try to understand the logic, and obviously as you are a fourth year student, so you try to find out something extra from this kind of problem. You can see that here the problem what you are going to discuss and the problem what you have discussed in the last class, in both the cases the objective function is going to be same, just I have changed the constants. So the importance of the constant in respect of solving the problem is very, very important. So just we are going to see that when you have discussed this problem under the constant of minus x1 plus x2 less than equal to 6 and x1 plus x2 less than equal to 14, we have seen that we have solved and we have got the solution in the first case actually when we have considered lambda 1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 equal to 0. Achha, what is the interpretation of that lambda 1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 equal to 0? Anyone? The interpretation when you are choosing lambda 1 0 lambda 2 0, what I mean to say actually, anyone? Achha, when we have used lambda 1 and lambda 2, why we need to bring this lambda 1 lambda 2? Anyone? Why we need to bring this lambda 1 and lambda 2?
So because of the constraints.
Because of the constants. Very good. Now, when I am assuming lambda 1 0 and lambda 2 0, then it's basically what I am doing. What I am
Removing
doing.
the constants.
Very good. That means the problems what we have solved is actually not depending on the constant. That means basically we have assumed that the problem is actually an unconstrained problem and we have solved it and we have able to got the solution. Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say, that all the cases what we are considering, just try to consider another case. Lambda 1 0 s2 0. What is the meaning of that? Lambda 1 0 means I'm ignoring the first constant, and s2 0 means I'm ignoring the inequality part of the second constant, because s2 is coming because that inequality sign is there in the second constant, right? Less than equal to 0 or greater than equal to 0 was there. That's why we have considered that s2 square, right? Okay to you? Okay. Okay. So every cases have some meaning. What we are doing, we are searching the solution by assuming different scenario. Okay, so now I'll proceed to solve the next problem, and you can see as I mentioned to you that here also the constant is the objective function is same, just I have changed the constant. So last time the constant was, if I remember correctly, it was x1 plus x2 less than equal to 14, right? That's a constant. Anyone remember? X1 plus x2 less than equal to 14 and minus x1 plus x2 less than equal to 6. These two are constants are there, right? So here I am considering the constant x1 plus x2 less than equal to 9 and x1 minus x2 greater than equal to 6. Let's see that if you are trying to solve this problem based on this constant, then what the solution we are going to get. So first, what we are going to check? We are going to check whether the objective function, because first of all, what we are going to look for? Anyone? Because you have to solve this kind of problem in the exam. Definitely one problem will ask. First, what we need to check? Anyone? তোরা বাড়িতে একদম পড়াশোনা করছিস না। When you are going to apply
Standard form.
standard form, that means it is whether it is a maximization problem or minimization, standard maximization problem or standard minimization problem. So for standard maximization problem, what should be the nature of the problem? Problem is function fx, maximization of fx you have to do, and the constant are obviously of less than equal to type. Now here it is a maximization problem, but it is not in the standard form. Why? Because the second constant is not less than equal to. So we need to bring that, and to bring that, what we are going to do, I'm going to multiply by -1 here. And if I multiply by -1, it is going to be minus x1 plus x2 less than equal to, yes. But you have to mention that. What you have to mention? That standard maximization problem is, we have to write down that, right? Max f of x1 x2 equal to 10x1 minus x1 square plus 10x2 minus x2 square, and subject to the constants x1 plus x2 less than equal to 9, and this is going to be minus x1 plus x2 greater than equal to 6. x1 x2 greater than equal to 0. Okay to you? So now we have already checked that. I am not repeating the same thing. First we need to check what? Whether the objective function is, right? What do you need to check? Whether the objective function is concave or not, right? So basically you have to check whether the Hessian matrix is negative definite for all possible x1 and x2 or not, and obviously the constants are linear function, so they obviously fit into both the way convex as well as concave. Here it is required to have, standard maximization problem is minus x1 plus x2 less than equal to minus 6, right? Okay, so as they are linear functions, so they can both fit into convex as well as concave. So here it is required to be convex function. We can write down that as they are linear function, so they are convex function. Okay, so first, that objective function is a negative definite function. We have already done that, so I'm not repeating the same thing. So now we are going to create the Lagrangian function. Is it okay to all of you? What you have to do? You have to do this thing in the exam as well, because there are certain marks will be assigned to those part. If you do not do this part, you are going to lose marks. Clear to you what I'm saying? Okay. So now we are going to create the Lagrangian function. So Lagrangian function is L x1 x2 lambda 1 lambda 2 and s1 s2, right? Because two variables are there, x1 x2 lambda and lambda 2 come because of the two constant, and s1 s2 is also coming because of the two inequalities in the two constant. So what is going to be that? 10x1, right, minus x1 square, next plus 10x2 minus x2 square minus lambda 1 x1 plus x2 minus 9 s1 square, right? And second constant was lambda 2 minus x1 plus x2 plus 6 plus s2 square. Okay, so now we are going to take the partial derivative, because this is the Kuhn-Tucker necessary conditions. So partial derivative with respect to x1, partial derivative with respect to x2, partial derivative with respect to lambda 1, partial derivative with respect to lambda 2, partial derivative with respect to s1, and partial derivative with respect to s2. So del L del x1 is equal to 10 minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2, right? Sorry, yes, minus 2x1 is equal to 0. Del L del x2 is what? 10 minus 2x2 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2 is equal to 0. Del L del lambda 1 minus of x1 plus x2 minus 9 plus s1 square is equal to 0, minus of minus x1 plus x2 plus 6 plus s2 square equal to 0. And del L del s1 we know minus 2 lambda 1 s1. This will be also 0. And this minus 2 lambda 2 s2 is equal to 0. So what is coming as x1 from here? 10 minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2 divided by 2, and x2 is what? 10 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2 divided by 2. Okay to you? So now, as I have already mentioned to you, that it is not possible to solve this system of linear equation, as there are 6 variables are there: x1, x2, lambda 1, lambda 2, s1, s2, and only we have 4 feasible equations, 4 feasible relations. So it is not possible to solve by this way. So what we are going to do, we are going to basically find out the solution by exploring the last 2 equations what we have got, that is lambda 1 s1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 s2 equal to 0. Because lambda 1 s1 0 means it may happen that lambda 1 is 0 or s1 is 0 or both 0, and this is also means lambda 2 0, s2 0, and both 0. As we need to sort down, or we need to consider 4 variables here, so we are going to assume out of lambda 1 s1 lambda 2 s2, combination of lambda 1 s1 and lambda 2 s2 as 0, so that the number of variable reduces to 4, and we can able to solve the system of linear equation, right? So the first case, as we have done it already in our previous class, the case 1, we are going to consider lambda 1 0 and lambda 2 0. So lambda, I hope you remember, x1 is what? 10 minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2 divided by 2, and x2 is 10 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2 divided by 2. So if we write down again, x1 is 10 minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2 divided by 2, and x2 is 10 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2 divided by 2. As a lambda 1 lambda 2 0, so x1 will be 5 and x2 will be also 5. So now we need to check the feasibility here, and feasibility we are going to get by the second and third equation. What was that? x1 plus x2 minus 9, right, plus s1 square is equal to 0, right? Where x1 plus x2 is 5 and 5, so 10. So 10 minus 9, that is 1. So s1 square is coming as minus 1. Similarly, और क्या equation था? Minus x1 plus x2 plus 6 plus s2 square, right, is equal to 0. So s2 square is equal to minus 6. Both is coming is negative, and it's not possible. So we can say that since s1 square and s2 square are negative, so the solution is not feasible. Right to you? Right?
Yes, sir.
You have to mention those reasons. Please remember that what I'm writing or what I'm saying it for some purpose. If you miss those things in the exam, you are going to lose the marks. Although you have done each and everything correctly, but if you do not write down it properly, you are going to lose the marks. Everything is depending on how you are explaining the thing. Please remember this. So as s1 square is minus 1, s2 square is minus. You have to write down that why you are not accepting this solution. So this solution is infeasible. Infeasible. Case 2. So next I'm going to take lambda 1 0 and s2 0, because if you take s1 0, then it is going to, the problem will occur here, because if I'm not going to take s2 0, then one variable is going to be removed and one equation is going to be remain untouched. So obviously it is not going to help you to solving the system on linear equation, and ultimate our purpose is to solve that, right? So that's why we are going to take one variable from lambda 1 s1 equal to 0 and one variable from lambda 2 s2 equal to 0, so that it is able to solve the system on linear equation. So lambda 1 equal to 0, if you assume, then what is going to be x1? X1 is going to be 10 plus lambda 2 divided by 2, and x2 will be 10 minus lambda 2 divided by 2. So now s2 equal to 0 means I can replace it into the second equation and I can find out the value of lambda 2. So what is going to come? Just see, as s2 0, so it is going to come as minus x1 plus x2 equal to minus 6, and minus x1 means 10 plus lambda 2 minus of divided by 2 plus 10 minus lambda 2 divided by 2 is equal to minus 6. So quickly tell me what is coming. 2 12, 10 10 will be cancelled out, minus 2 lambda 2 is equal to minus 12, right? Okay, so lambda 2 is equal to 6. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So if lambda 2 6, then what is the value of x1? 10 plus lambda 2 divided by 2, that is 8. And x2 is what? 10 minus lambda 2, that is 2. Now the thing what you need to check, the feasibility, and feasibility you are going to check by finding the value of s1 square, and we are going to put it here, very simple. So x1 plus x2 minus 9 plus s1 square equal to 0. We know the value of x1 and x2, which is 8 plus 2. So 10 minus 9, that is basically 1. So s1 square is minus 1. So again, this solution is not feasible because s1 square is minus 1, right? Okay. So now you have to write down, since s1 square is equal to minus 1, the solution is infeasible or not feasible. Okay. So next, what you are going to do? Next case. So case 3, what you are going to choose? s1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 equal to 0. So if s1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 equal to 0, first we are going to write down the value of x1. x1 is what? Anyone? Bolo? 10 minus lambda 1, right? Divided by 2.
Yes, sir.
And x2, 10 plus lambda 1 or 10 minus lambda 1?
So minus.
Minus lambda divided by 2. So s1 equal to 0 means we have another equation, x1 plus x2 equal to 9, right? So x1 plus x2 means what? 10 minus lambda 1 is equal to, right? Equal to 9. That is lambda 1 equal to 1. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to check the feasibility, and we are going to check the feasibility by considering the second constant. So second constant is what? Minus x1 plus x2 plus s2 square is equal to minus x. You can see it easily that as, okay, no, what is the value of x1? We can calculate it here. Please mute yourself, please. So we have to find out the value of x1 and x2 as well by putting lambda 1 equal to 1. So what we are getting, lambda 1, as if you replace by 1, we are going to get 10 minus
4.5.
4.5. And here also you are going to get the same, 4.5. This will be also 4.5, this will be also 4.5. So as x1 and x2 are same, so it is going to be minus 4.5 plus 4.5 plus s2 square is equal to minus 6. So s2 square is equal to minus 6. Okay, so again this solution is also not feasible because s2 square is coming as negative. Okay. So since s2 square is less than 0, the solution is infeasible. So not only s1 square and s2 square, if x1 x2 or lambda 1 lambda 2, if they comes negative also, that solution is also infeasible, because if you remember the necessary condition I have mentioned there, that lambda I must be greater than equal to 0. And if you look at the problem what is given to you to solve, where also it is mentioned that x1 x2 must be greater than equal to 0. So all those variables what we are going to find out, they must be non-negative. Okay, case 4, last case now. Last case is s1 equal to 0 and s2 equal to 0. So if s1 and s2 equal to 0, then x1 and x2 you cannot change. Just what we are going to do, we are going to find out the value of x1 and x2 by solving these two equations. So if s1 and s2 0, so first equation is x1 plus x2 equal to 9, and second one you are going to get minus x1 plus x2 equal to minus 6. So if you solve it, x1 x2 will be cancelled out, so 2x2 will be equal to 3, right? So x2 will be equal to what? 3 by 2, that is 1.5. And x1 will be what? 9 minus 1.5. That is 6.5. 7.5, sorry. Okay. Okay. Is it okay? So now we are going to find out what? We are going to find out the value of lambda 1 and lambda 2, most important thing. And we are going to get the value of lambda and lambda 2 by considering this, that we have a relation 10 minus lambda 1 plus lambda 2, right, divided by 2, which is equal to x1, and x1 we will find out as 1.5. And another relation is what? 10 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 2 divided by 2 is equal
Sir,
to
x1 is 7.5.
sorry, yes, 7.5, sorry. x2 is 1.5. So now we are going to solve this to get the value of lambda 1 and lambda 2. So tell me, what is the value of lambda 1 and lambda 2?
Lambda 1 is 6 and lambda 2 is 1.
Lambda 1 is 6. Okay,
1. Yeah.
good, very good. So you can see that all the variables are greater than equal to 0, actually greater than 0. So that's why this does not violate any one of the conditions. So that's why this solution is a feasible solution, and also it is the optimal solution as well. Okay, so that means the point 7.5 comma 1.5 gives the maximum of the objective function f. Okay, so you have to write down those things, that since this solution does not violate any one of the conditions, so Therefore, the point 7.5, 1.5 gives the maximum of the objective function f. You can say f of x1, x2. Okay to you? What you need to write down? Okay, so just I'm going to take another problem, and I'm not going to solve this problem. Just I'm taking this problem because the two problems what we have
Sir,
discussed.
lambda 1 is 1 and lambda 2 is 6.
Okay, okay. Lambda 1 is 1
Yes, sir.
and lambda 2 is 6. Okay, rest of the people, is it okay? Okay, so the next problem, because the two problems what we have discussed till now, both are maximization problem. Just I'm going to show you another problem, which is a minimization problem. So let's see how to develop the Lagrangian function. And if you develop the Lagrangian function, the process is remain same. The combinations you have to find out, and after that you have to solve this. So you can see that here the problem is a minimization problem, and I hope you can understand also that problem is given such a way that it is a standard minimization problem as well. Okay, so first of all you have to check whether this function is a convex function or not, and this constant is a concave function or not. As the constant is a linear constant, so obviously it is a concave function. But remember always that in the exam you may get some function in the constant which is not a linear function. In that case you have to show by using the Hessian matrix that whether it is concave, obviously for the standard minimization problem, and maximization problem you have to show it is a convex. So please remember this part. Here all are the linear function, that's why I'm saying it in general that as it is linear function, so it is convex or concave, both way you can take it. But if it is not a linear function, then you have to find out the Hessian matrix to check that what is the nature of the function. Okay, okay to you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now here we have to create the Lagrangian function. So here you can see that in the last two problems we have taken two variables and two constants. Here we are considering two variables and one constant. So first of all, Lagrangian function will be x1 comma x2, right? For one constant you are going to get one lambda and one s. So what will be that? 5x1 square. So tell me, plus 6x2 square, then yes, minus hmm, 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 yes, minus 3, then
minus s square.
exactly this time it is minus a square. Okay, so you have to keep in mind, that's why I just given this problem so that you can remember actually that if it is a minimization problem, it's not plus s1 square s2 square, it should be minus s1 square. Okay, and now if I ask you how many cases you have to find out here, how many cases and what are those cases actually? So how do you understand that how many cases you have to do? You have to always look for the partial derivative with respect to s. What you are getting? Minus, here it is plus 2 lambda s equal to 0. Will you going to get any other equation other than this in the last? Only one variable is there, s. So that's why it is
Yes, sir.
one constant is there. Now here only two cases can be happened. One case lambda equal to 0 and other case equal to 0. Okay, so this time you have to consider case 1 as lambda 0 and case 2 as s0. Out of these two, obviously if this will give you the convex function and this is the concave function, obviously this is happening here, then you are going to get the optimal solution out of these two, definitely. Okay to you? Any other question, any other doubt regarding the Kuntukar conditions? If you have, you can ask me, because now we'll proceed to our next topic, game theory. So if you have any question, any doubt, you please ask me. Please. No one have any question? Okay. So now we'll start the next topic, theory of games, or sometimes it will be called as game theory. Okay, before going to start the game theory, how many of you have seen the movie The Beautiful Mind? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this Beautiful Mind movie is actually based on one mathematician. Do you know the name? It is actually based on John Nash. Okay, and John Nash give us a equilibrium that when two player plays a game, what will be their equilibrium point? And that equilibrium Nash equilibrium. You do not have that higher concept in your syllabus, but as we are studying the theory of games, and you can say that Nash is actually invented that topic. So that's why I've just introduced slightly before proceed to the theory of games. Now, question is that what is game actually? Uh, in general, the term game refers to a situation of conflict or and competition in which two or more competitors or participants or players, you can say, are involved in the decision making process in anticipation of the certain outcomes. Okay, so certain outcomes means it may happen that some player may want to win, some player may want to lose also. We don't know, because we have to fix that what will be the decision making in that case. I'll come to that part, each and everything later part. Now, obviously, different kind of game part is there, different kind of game theory we can develop. But what we have in your syllabus, that when the gain of one player is exactly equal to the loss of the other player, then basically the sum of the gain and loss is equal to zero. And this type of game is called as zero sum game. So zero sum game means what? What I said, zero sum game means if the gain of one player is equal to the loss of other player, then the sum of that is basically zero, right? Because if one is gaining, then other is losing. So this type of game is called as zero sum game. And when you find that the value of the game is actually zero, then we can say it is a fair game. This type of question may be asked in the MCQ. So that's why I'm just informing you about the term. So fair game means what? If the value of the game is zero, then we call a game as a fair game. Okay to you? Okay, so two things we have discussed. I am repeatedly going to say you so that it will be memorized to you. and you need not to memorize it, it will be automatically remembered. That zero sum game means if the gain of one player is equal to the loss of other, then the sum of gain and loss or loss obviously zero. In that case, that type of game is called as zero sum game. And if the value of the game for any game is zero, that game is called as a fair game. Now, as I mentioned to you that when two players play a game, then obviously they must have some strategy to win their game. Now, what do we mean by the strategy? What do you mean by the strategy? A strategy, you can say that it is basically predetermined rules by which a player will decide which of the available course of action will be adopted at each play. Like that, you may think about that when a cricket match going on. I'm just not talking about a theory of games. Just I'm thinking about the strategy means what we can think that you may think about that if you toss a coin whether you are going to bat or ball, what are the players you are going to choose to play that game, how many batsmen you are going to, how many specialist batsmen you are going to choose for that game, or how many specialist bowler you are going to choose for that game, or how many all-rounder you are going to choose. So you can think about that these are the basically predetermined rule, the course of actions you are taking. So this kind of thing is basically called as strategy. Is it fine to all of you? Two type of strategies are there. One is the pure strategy and another one is the mixed strategy. Okay, pure strategy and the mixed strategy. The initial part is slightly theoretical. That means I have to say much more, and I have to write down very small. And the mixed strategy, I have to write down very less, but I have to talk much. Mixed strategy and the pure strategy. First, I'm going to give you the mixed strategy. Then it will be easy for us to define the pure strategy. So, just if a player, suppose that has M strategies, then the numbers, real numbers, you can say the real numbers x1, x2, xm. Okay, where this x1 is corresponding to some probability, x2 will corresponding to some probability, xm will corresponding to some probability. That means it will going to follow some probability rules. That means they cannot less than 0, they cannot be greater than 1. Okay, and also they will be called as mixed strategy, will be mixed strategy if x1 plus x2 plus xm is equal to 1 and xi are greater than equal to 0 for r. So if their sum is equal to 1, and obviously if xi are greater than equal to 0, then it will be called as mixed strategies. That means if for a player, if I choose a strategy like that 1/2, 1/2, then this can be a mixed strategy. It cannot be the pure strategy, because you can see that is coming as half plus half, that is going to be 1. Now, when it will be the pure strategy, if out of this x1 to xm, if I'm choosing some xr, if it is coming as 1 and xj equal to 0 for j not equal to r. That means out of those x1, x2, xm, out of that any xr is coming as 1 and rest are 0, then it will be called as pure strategy. So what is the example of the pure strategy? 1 comma 0, right? 0 1 0. These are the pure strategies. And when you are considering 1 by 3, 2 by 3, 1 by 3, okay, and 0, this will be a mixed strategy. Are you getting my point? Okay, to all of you, have you understand the strategies and the classification of strategies, pure strategy and the mixed strategy?
Yes, sir.
Now, the next thing what you need to know is actually payoff matrix. Payoff matrix will decide or will give you the idea that how much you can say money is going to gain by the player A and going to lose by the player B. If I just look at this, the payoff matrix is basically look like that. Remember one thing, that normally the problem how it is set like that A is always going to be the maximizing player. That means A always try to maximize his profit, and player B is always the minimizing player. That means player B is always try to minimize his loss. So when they play the game accordingly. So A always try to maximize his gain, his profit, and player B is always try to minimize his loss. Okay, that means that entry A11 means that when A play their strategy A1 and B play his strategy B1, then A11 money will get by the player A and A11 money will be lose by the player B. Okay to you what I'm saying? What I'm saying, that what is the meaning of this entry A11? The meaning of this entry A11 means that if the player A play the strategy A1, and if the player B play the strategy B1, then A1 B1 entry is A11. That means if they play their strategy as A1 corresponding to A1, if it's play the strategy like that 1 0 0 0 0, and B also play his strategy like that 1 0 0 0 0. That means first strategy both player A and player B is playing. Then what will be the value of the game? In that case, it is basically A11, which is gained by the player A, and it is basically loss for the player B. That means minus A11 will gain by the player B. That is basically the loss. Okay to all of you? Okay. Now the question is that how we are going to solve a game problem. That is, if a payoff matrix is given to you where that amount of money or that will be depending on the problem. Okay, so it is given to you. So how we are going to find out the optimal strategy for both the player A and player B? To understand this, the first theory what we are going to discuss is known as pure strategies. Pure strategies game, where the pure strategies exist. And that problem is basically, or that the principles what is going to be adopted to find out this, it is called as minimax and maximin principles. Now here I am written that it is games with the saddle point. That saddle point is totally different from the saddle point what we have discussed in the multivariable optimization, where the saddle point means where the no or maximum minimum exists, but here the saddle point means if you have the pure strategies. Okay, so if you have the pure strategies, then that point is called as the saddle point for the game. Okay, is it okay to you? So first of all, what is the meaning of Maximin principle? And then we are going to discuss about the minimax principle. Maximin principle means what? Because as I mentioned to you, that A is the maximizing player, right? And A always try to maximize his profit. So what A are going to do? A is going to do. Any idea? Any idea? What A is going to do? First, A is going to take the minimum of the row. Okay? And then try to take the maximum of that. And that's why it is called as maximin. By doing this, what A is assuring? A is assuring that what strategy B can play, no issue on that, he will going to get at least this much of amount. Clear to you? Is it clear to you? What is the thinking point of from A, that he's trying to get that what minimum amount he can get, and that way you're thinking that first he's trying to take the minimum of all those. So minimum of all those means what? Basically, B will try to get all those values. We try to negotiate with A with those points, and then A will try to get the maximum from all those. Similarly, what will be the point of view from B? B, as B will try to minimize the loss. So first of all, B will try to think that what maximum loss he is going to get. So B will going to get first the maximum of the column. Maximum of the column, right? And then try to minimize of that. Is it okay to you? Any doubt, any question, please, if you have, you can ask me. Okay. So now what will be their optimal strategy? What will be their optimal strategy? Optimal strategy, as I mentioned to you, the strategy means the course of action. So optimal strategy means a course of action that puts any player in the most preferred position, irrespective of the course of action of his competitors. That I mentioned already. That without knowing the strategy for the player B, A is try to get his maximum profit, and that much you can assure by using this rule. Similarly, if B is try to minimize his loss, B can apply this rule. Getting my point? And that strategy is basically called as optimal strategy. Now the thing is very important is that a game is strictly determinable if the maximin and minimax values of the game are equal. Okay, and also I can say here that this maximin value and minimax value is basically equal to the value of the game. Is it okay to you? Let's take one problem. I've given so much information. Now let's try to apply that, and I hope now you get some interest, because till now I have just only giving you some theory part. So okay, one thing first of all, before going to solve the problem, one thing we should clear, that this game is strictly determinable, and we are going to check that whether it is strictly determinable or not. And to check the strictly determinable, what we are going to do, we are going to find out row minimum, right? And then we are going to find out the maximum of that. Similarly, we are going to take the column maximum, and then we are going to take the minimum of that, and that is basically equal to the value of the game. So ultimately our goal is to get that. Okay, so now what we are going to do, this is the game. Okay, first write down, solve the following game whose payoff matrix is given by this. Have you write down the problem? One thing I should mention here, that the number of strategies for the player A and player B may not be same. You can see just in this problem that player B have 4 strategies: B1, B2, B3, B4. But player A have 3 strategies: A1, A2, A3. So it is not required at all to the number equal, the both have the equal number of strategies. It is not required at all. Okay, it will be depending on the problem, how the problem has been set. Is it okay? Shall we proceed to solve the problem?
Yes, sir.
So now, first of all, I'm just writing it here again: minus 5, 3, 1, 20, 5, 5, 4, 6, minus 4, minus 2, 0, minus 5. So first of all, as I mentioned to you, that we are going to find out the row minimum, and we are going to find out the column maximum, right? So row minimum will be what here? Minus 5. Here it is going to be 4, right? And here it is going to be minus 5. And column maximum is what? 5. It is going to be 5. It is going to be 4, and it is going to be 20. Next, what we are going to do? We are going to find out the minimum of that. What is the minimum? Minimum is 4. This point, right? This is your minimum. And what is the maximum here? What is the maximum? Here the maximum is also 4. Out of that, -5, 4, -5, which you are getting again from here. And this 4, you can see that basically you are getting because of this. Both this 4 and this 4 coming because of this. So you can see that here maximin and minimax both is coming as 4. Okay, to you what I'm saying? Okay, so you can say here that thus max rho min is equal to mean column max, right, is equal to 4. So that means the value of the game is 4. Now the next question, what are the strategies? Acha, first of all, where you are getting that 4? If you look at the payoff matrix, you are getting that 4 this point, at this point. And this point is basically called as the saddle point. Remember that. Okay. This point 4 you are getting from A2, B3. So I'm just writing it here so that you can remember the payoff matrix, because both are same. So as I mentioned to you that you are going to get the saddle point. So the payoff matrix has a saddle point at cell A2, B3. Okay. And what are the optimal strategy for the player A? So now when you have the saddle point, that means the player A and player B both have the pure strategies, right? So here for A, what is the optimal strategy? Anyone? What is the optimal strategy? Just look at that. How A will get 4? What will be the strategy A will play so that A will get that 4 rupees, if I say? What will be the strategy A will play? Yes. Yes, very simple. I have already
Sir, A2.
No, A2 is fine. But A2 means what? That means the player is playing only the strategy A2, and rest of the strategy the player is not adopting. That means basically you can say that player play is the strategy 0, 1. Can I say? Can I say so? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, how that player B will lose the money for? In that case, the strategy for the player B will be 0, 0, 1, 0. So the optimal strategy for the player A is 0, 1, 0, and for B, the optimal strategy is 0, 0, 1, 0, right? Because B3 is there. So remember always one thing, that if any payoff matrix has any game has a saddle point, that means both the player playing their pure strategies as an optimal strategy. Okay. So and you are how to get that optimal strategy, optimal pure strategy, you can say. I have shown you. Is it fine? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to take just another 5 minutes and I'm going to finish this class. But it may not be happened always. The game what we have chosen, we are getting it as a pure strategy. We are getting a saddle point there. But every game does not have the saddle point. We are going to see, because that is the main purpose of studying the game theory. Because the game, the first example what we have chosen is a very simple example where everything is smooth. Player A and player B are choosing the strategy so that a player A is actually try to get that 4 and player B is also try to lose that money 4. That is the game, what the first problem we have seen. But this is not the scenario every time. So if a game does not have the saddle point, then the game must have the mixed strategies. So let us consider a 2x2 game, and in that case we are going to assume that they have the mixed strategy. So I am assuming what? That let xi and yi be the probabilities with which A chooses his ith strategy. That is, x1 is the probability by which player A chooses A1 strategy, and x2 is the probability by which player A is choosing his A2 strategy. Similarly, y1 is the probability by which player B is choosing his B1 strategy, and y2 is the probability by which the player B is choosing his B2 strategy. Okay? And I'm assuming here that suppose V is the value of the game. Now, if the game is determinable, that means if the game has some solution, that obviously means whether they are choosing the pure strategy or mixed strategy does not matter. But the loss for the player A should be equal to the gain for the player A should be the loss for the player B, and that must be equal to the value of the game. राइट ये तो होना ही चाहिए, नहीं तो ये गेम सॉल्यूशन ही नहीं होगा. क्लियर और नॉट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग? Is it okay what I'm saying? Is it okay to you?
Yes, sir.
So now if player A play his strategy with the probability x1 x2 and player B play his strategy by probability y1 and y2, then I can easily say that a11 x1 plus a21 x2 is equal to the value of the game. Similarly, a12 x1 plus a22 x2 is equal to the value of the game. Similarly, it can be also said that a11 y1 plus a12 y2 is equal to the value of the game, and a21 y1 plus a22 y2 is equal to value of the game. As we have seen it already, just see that when you have B playing his strategy 0 0 1 0, if you multiply it, what you are going to get? This is 0, this is 0, this is 0 1, so you are getting 4. Similarly, you can see that if you are multiplying this 0 1, you are getting 4. Clear to you what I'm saying? Is it okay to you?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you solve this, you can try this problem to solve this system of linear equation. Nothing complicated is there. You can try it. You are going to get the value of x1, x2, and y1 and y2 in terms of obviously V. No issue. But later on, you can see that V will be cancelled out. And ultimately, if we use that also, that x1 plus x2 equal to 1 and y1 plus y2, that is also going to be 1, right? You know that is always follow from the mixed strategy problem. If you remember the definition of the mixed strategy, that they are always going to follow a distribution. So sum of the probability must be 1. x1 plus x2 will be 1, and y1 plus y2 will be also 1. So this x1, x2, y1, y2 will come in terms of v, and you are going to get that v by putting it this equation. Now, what you are going to get as x1, very important, and just try to understand the logic. You can solve this actually. The value of x1 will be a22 minus a21. Just see, value of x1 is what? A22 minus a21 divided by a11 plus a22 minus a21 plus a12. This is going to give you a11 plus a22 minus a12 plus a21. Similarly, now tell me x2 will be what? If you want to get x2, what you are going to get? x2 will be a11 minus a12. a11 minus a12, and the denominator is remain same. a11 plus a22 minus a12 plus a21. Now similarly y1, tell me the logic now. y1, anyone? y1 is now vertically, right? y1 is corresponding to vertically. So vertically means diagonal element what? a22, principal diagonal, a22 minus a12 divided by a11 plus a22 minus a12 plus a21. Now last one, y2. Now I hope you have got the logic. Tell me what will be y2? 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 I'm just giving you the trick so that it is you need not memorize it. You just use the trick and you can get the solution. Please, y2. What will be y2? y2 means we are going to leave this. We are not going to come here. And what is the principal diagonal here? a11 minus a21 divided by the same. a11 a22 minus a12 a21. And the value of the game v is also very interesting. This basically a11 a12 minus a21 a11 into a22, sorry, a11 into a22 minus a12 into a21 divided by same, a11 plus a22 minus a12 plus a21. Please, if you have anything to ask, you can ask me now. I'm not going to continue further. We have discussed so many things, but the next class is going to be very important because what we have learned today, we are going to basically apply those things in our next class. And in the next class, we are going to discuss some methods to find out the solution of a game where the game does not have the saddle point, and also the game does not have only 2x2 form. Because I hope you can understand that if I'm considering a game of 3x4, then it is very difficult to solve that system of linear equation. So how to overcome from this situation and how to find out the solution. But please, if you have any question, anything to ask, you can ask me, please.